Here we are again, and so hopefully by this time, this is your third video that you're watching about prayer, and hopefully that you're watching all of Wisconsin Youth Ministries YouTube videos because they're amazing. But that said, the first thing that you need to do if you're going to have a real and powerful prayer life is to make sure that you have determined that every time you pray, that the words you're saying are yours. That there's no filler, there's no spewing just things out of your mouth that you hear other people pray over and over again, but you make sure that the prayers you pray are yours. And once you've decided to do that, you move on to step 2, and that's to actually begin your prayer time. And you begin your prayer time by lifting up God's holy power, by taking time and worshiping Jesus Christ, letting him know what he can do, not for his sake, he already knows, but it reminds yourself, it reminds your spirit, so that it gives you and builds up your faith so that you can pray effectively. The next thing that Jesus tells us to do as he teaches mankind again how to pray is Matthew chapter 6 verse 10. He says, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven." And so this is important, that the first thing that Jesus tells us to do once we get our focus right, once we've decided our prayer is going to be real, once we have decided that we're going to take the time to get our faith level elevated, when we're at that prime point where our faith is elevated, the first thing we need to do is come against the strongest opponent we have, and that's our own flesh, our own will, our own desires and ideas of how we should be running our life. First thing we do when our faith is at our highest is make sure that God knows that it's not about what I want, it's all about what he wants. This is what Jesus says again, and this time it's in the book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse 14. He says, "Blessed are they that do his commandments," that do his commandments, that do his commandments. It sounds like an action word. It sounds like something that we're supposed to be accomplishing. "That they may have right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city." That's a city I want to go to. That's the city that we call heaven. That I want the right to eat from the tree of life. And so I know that there's so many times that people are like, "Well, you don't have to do these things to go to heaven. You don't have to actually, it's all about faith and grace." And yes, it is all about faith. It's all about grace. Grace that influences the heart and causes a reflection and action to come out of our life. And so if we are going to do God's will, then it's got to start in prayer. It's got to start by laying our will down and saying, "God, I want your will to be done." Because it's only when I do your will that I am demonstrating that I have faith. Because you can say that you believe all you want, but if you don't submit to baptism in Jesus' name, for example, you don't really believe what Jesus himself said about baptism. And so if we believe, we will do. And so I know that in myself is no good thing. And so if I'm going to do his commandments, if I'm going to do something good and get to walk into that city, get to walk through those gates and get to reach up and take fruit off of those branches from that tree of life, then I need to pray that it's not my will that's accomplished in my life, because my will just get me into trouble. My will just get me in deep. But if I pray that it's his will that's accomplished, if I pray every day with my faith on fire, "God, not me, you," then I will be most like Christ. And my prayers will be prayers that are not askew, they're not amiss, they're not about me. My prayers that I pray after this point will be all about what he wants and all about his kingdom.